we've got 3 young guys here, others are obviously not here, that have some sort of interest in real estate as well, when it comes to starting and selling. Can you quickly give them a background of what it's about and what the industry entails?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Real estate basically is assisting people on buying and selling their properties. And what is mainly needed in this industry, you need to be motivated, goal-oriented. You need to drive yourself. No one is going to hold your hand, you know. And then the other thing, there's also you also need to study for you to be able to be accredited accordingly for a full status. That's what they are currently using with the PPRA. And also you need to have a valid FFC. And then markets differs. It's either you are in the rental space, the commercial, also residential. So it will depend which one would you be more interested in, but all of them do give the same outcome. It's for you to ensure that you get what the clients need, and then I think that is it.
Okay, now thank you for that. I needed that brief background to be there so that everyone understands why we are having the meeting, and so that we can all be on the same page. I think the first thing that we need to look at in terms of sales, more particularly in the real estate space, is to first understand the market. What sort of market are we dealing with? Because every single market is going to be different for every single property. There are properties that can do well in one market because they are designed specifically for that market, but do completely bad in another market. So knowing who the buyers and the sellers are, Pumlani knows this. So when you are actually looking to sell a specific property, there must be a specific target of people that are going to be buying that specific property, meaning you need to have a proper understanding of who those people are, having some sort of a profile on those individuals that are going to be buying that property, and having them on speed dial. So for every property that comes out, I've seen even in the past, an agent will call me before that property even goes onto the market and say, okay, this specific property fits the criteria of this investor. Witness loves these kind of properties, be it maybe it's a township property, it's a multi-let. I know that he's investing in township property. This is the person that I'm going to be calling. Or it's a property that's in Waterfall Country Estate. There's a specific client that you would need to have in mind. Perhaps maybe our international clients that would say, I want to invest in Johannesburg. I want something as beautiful as what I would find in the States, for instance, or what I would find in one of the biggest cities in Africa. So I don't want to live there. I want to buy it, and I want to use it to house maybe some business people that come into the country. So there must be a specific property that you have in mind, and also pair it with someone that's going to be the buyer for that property. Now, one other thing, you have to look at what the needs of the market is. So one guy could be coming and looking for property to buy, but the fact that you've got stock and you've got property to sell doesn't necessarily mean that person is the right person to buy that property. But when you understand what the needs of that person is, and let's talk about needs, for instance, and it boils down to any product that you are selling. Once you start selling something and there's no need for it, that's where we have it wrong. Those of you guys that are doing marketing within the business understand this, that every single thing that we have as a product, we must first identify the need for it and say, okay, we've got this product, but who needs it? So on the commercial side, Pumlan, we've got a warehouse. We both know that the guy who's looking to buy a 5-bedroom house in Serengeti for 6 million is not interested in the warehouse. So the worst thing we can do is to try and convince that guy to buy a warehouse when that guy needs a home. So determining the needs and saying, okay, what does Witness need as a business owner, as a business person, and what do I have? Because there are people that don't even know what they need at that moment. They've got the money, they've got the business, but they don't even know that they need the property. So our duty is to go to them and say, okay, I've got this property, I've identified your business strategy, but I think you could do well with an office in that area. For instance, maybe you've got an office in Kempton Park, and we say to that person, because you are also dealing with people that are traveling from overseas for your office, we've determined the need. There's no need for these people to drive all the way to Midrand when you could be having an office in Kempton Park. So what did we do there as the sellers or as the agents? We've identified that this specific business has also this specific need, and we must find this product and convince this person to buy that product. So that becomes an important thing. But another thing, especially for those that are starting in real estate, you have to choose your niche. Choose your niche and specialize in that niche before you actually branch out into all other niches. And what I mean by niche is there is residential property, but within residential property, there's property in different towns, different cities, different neighborhoods. The question for you now is going to be, which neighborhood are you going to be specializing in? Because you can't wake up and say, I'm going to do all the neighborhoods. Someone says, I've got a property, like, no, all the neighborhoods we do. Yes, in terms of people coming to you and offering you a property to sell, you can take it. But however, within the team, there might be someone that understands that property more than you, that industry or that area more than you. You then speak to that person and have them take over the sale of that property. So having your own niche and what you are dealing with is going to help you streamline in terms of everything that you are working on. And then we look at development. How many developers do you actually have a relationship with? By developers, I mean people that are developing property specifically to rent it out, or developing it specifically to sell it to a certain market. Now, you need to have a database of all those people. What's your database? When was the last time you called any developer and spoken to them and introduced yourself as someone who's selling a property, right? Saying to them, hi, I'm Pumlani. I work for this real estate agency. This is what I'm good at. I've got a group of people that are looking to invest, but they don't have properties to buy. Do you have something in the market that I can actually show them? Developers most of the time are open to having these kind of conversations, right? So there we are specifically talking about having stock, Nyeko. What's the product? Do you have the product in place? If it's a service that you're selling, what's the service? Are you able to immediately provide that service to your customer? This allows you then to having that understanding in terms of the niche, the market. It helps you have some sort of an expert complex when they are looking at you as the person that they need to speak to. Now, as I'm sitting here, there are agents that I know, if I call that one, he's definitely going to be having stock that's commercial. If I call that one, I know he's going to be having residential. If I call that one, I know he's going to be having township property. Why is that the case? Because these guys have established themselves as experts on that thing. Let's take a few examples. When I say Steve Jobs, what comes into your mind? Apple. When I say Mutsepe, what comes into your mind? What industry comes into your mind? Mining. So meaning, do you think that's the only business Mutsepe has? He's got other businesses. But why does mining come to mind when I say Mutsepe?
He's positioned himself.
Do you think it's something that happened by mistake, or is there intention behind it?
Definitely intention.
There's intention, right? So all of us sitting here, when I say Shelly, we immediately need to be saying real estate. But we also need to be saying what kind of real estate, right? If I say Pumlan, I know Pumlani deals with investors. I know he's probably going to be selling something, even if it's a house, he's going to add an investment element to it. Would know if you develop this house this way, it's going to make you X amount of money if you sell it later. So that's his niche. When we met, he was selling anything and everything. Anything that you called property, he was selling. But now, he's carved down to a specific niche. Now, when I say Nyeko, what comes to your mind?
Media production.
Media production, what comes to yours?
Video edit.
Video editing. Okay, I can't ask you guys, but what comes to mind? When I say Nyeko, what comes to mind for you guys?
Let's say videography, editing, behind, the guy behind.
Guy behind.
Yeah, behind the camera and editing, and that's what comes to
So meaning within this space, he's got a personal brand. We all can't miss what he does, right? So if we are in a public space, what we are doing here, we are emphasizing this thing, Yoguti. When we get to a public space and we say Shelly, someone must say Shelly, what is proper? They mustn't confuse you and say, Omufing, what chair? It must be clear. You might be doing a whole lot of other things because that's not what Nyeko only does, right? But the fact that there's one thing that he's known for puts him in a position where he can enhance his skills on that thing that he's good at. So that speaks to branding. Every business has got that thing. If we say Pick and Pay, what comes to mind?
Groceries.
Groceries. But they sell clothes.
Yeah.
Why didn't clothes come to mind?
Yeah.
And I saw they've got a fish and chips. Why didn't fish and chips
Boutique.
come to mind?
Yeah.
Only the groceries came to mind, meaning they've built and entrenched their brand in your mind in such a way that whenever you think about them, you think about that specific thing, although there are other things that the business is actually doing. MTN? Airtime, okay, airtime. MTN?
Services. Mobile services.
Mobile services. Okay, so meaning they know their market. They know who their market is, and every day they are positioning themselves to their market as that person, right? So that speaks to, let's talk about our online presence for a moment, right? As individuals, before we talk about it as a firm and as a business, as individuals. Pumlani, for instance, I'll pick on you. You don't have an online presence, right? Because you are doing grassroots marketing. You are known amongst professionals, amongst investors, amongst business people as the property guy. But how big would your network be if we were to be intentional? Remember we talked about intention. If we were to be intentional about building your brand online.
I'll increase. I'll probably increase in sales.
Okay, let's get into that. What are the things that would happen in your mind? You mentioned one, increase in sales. One,
More stock. I'll get more stock.
you'll get more stock, 100%. And another one, okay, you'll be known as the property guy. What?
What lines?
More clients, yes. Anyone?
Social influence.
Social influence, yes. What does social influence then do for him as an agent?
It credits him.
It what?
It credits him.
Credits him, meaning it gives him credibility. Okay, credibility, right? So, meaning now Pumlani is having a certain pool of people that can buy from him. But if we are intentional in saying, okay, this week we are building Pumlani's online profile, it means Pumlani is then going to be able to reach people that he is not necessarily reaching at the moment. Now, then the question becomes, why are we not building his personal profile? And perhaps let me ask you, Boot, because you're one of the experienced agents, along with Fusi Smith. But why haven't you seen the need to build your online profile?
I've always wanted to. I just never got around to do it, one. And then number two, I think what or how you mentioned, I think you said grassroots, né?
Mm-hmm.
That has been sufficient enough to push me.
The grassroots.
The grassroots, because I mainly get 90% of the business through referrals, through investors that I work with, then they refer me to their client, and it's a referral business. It's continue. That's why there was not a need for me to be intentional about or to spend more resources on the social presence, if I can put it that way.
Okay, let's talk about likability. Do you think you're a likable guy?
I think so.
Gents like you,
Yeah.
right? So, how much more people would bring in that likability or be drawn to it as soon as they see you doing work outside of your normal confines? A lot more.
A lot more.
Okay, and then what would that mean for the business? Let's talk about you, pair. If your brand online would grow, what does that mean for the business?
The business will automatically grow as well.
Okay, why? Take me through it. What are the ripple effects?
The ripple effect would be, obviously, I'm going to start to be more engaging. I'm going to engage with more people, because now I'm becoming socially, I don't want to say famous, but recognized.
Yeah.
And then it, like the lady was saying, it's going to give me more credibility, and then that will translate to the number of business, whether it be stock, I'm gonna get more stock. People that are struggling to sell what they are selling
Yes.
would come, give me that stock. Buyers would come and say they are looking for this stock. So eventually it will translate to
Trust as well.
sorry.
Trust. Yes.
Trust. That's
One of them?
good. Yeah, one of them. But as a business as well, I think it will cement. It will cement what I've already been doing. That he is the guy with property, the guy that has been doing this for such a long time, and then the trust element comes in, because people normally do business with people that they trust. That's what I would say.
Okay.
From the business aspect of it.
All right.
It
So,
translates to sales.
okay. So, is it something that you are willing to do? If we were to say, starting tomorrow, we are now being intentional that every single person in the room is going to be having a personal brand.
Yeah.
And we are going to be defining what that personal brand is. Because the mistake that a lot of people do is, as long as I'm online and I'm posting videos, I'm online, most I'm doing videos, or I'm writing posts. It goes beyond that, right? So if we are saying Pumlani is an agent, which applies to most people here, his brand must be consistent with what he's selling. Now we're speaking marketing. Let's talk marketing now, right? His brand is going to be consistent with the product or the service. That's the first P of marketing in the marketing mix, right? So here, the product that we are talking about is the properties, meaning every single property that we have, we must have all the defined features of that property properly described for every single agent. So say for instance, you send me pictures and say, no, I've got this property. If I've never been there, it will be difficult for me to know what the features of that property are. But if you say, I've got this property, it's in Serengeti. It's in a golf estate. It's a golf estate, right? It's in a golf estate. It's secure. It's got 4 bedrooms. It's got a lift inside, elevator. It's got, let's play around with features, beautiful chandeliers.
Yeah, it's got a double entrance.
Double volume entrance,
Yeah.
yes.
High ceilings.
High ceilings. It's got a swimming
Mahogany
pool.
wood.
It's got what?
Mahogany, what wood?
Mahogany wood.
Yes.
It's granite.
It's granite tops.
Wood
It
floors.
has a maid quarters.
Yes, made quarters, very important.
Four ensuite bedrooms.
4 ensuite bedrooms, yes. So meaning we don't share bathrooms here. What else?
Entertainment.
Entertainment,
Walk-in
pyjama lounge,
closets.
Summer
walk-in
lounge.
closet for all the 4 bedrooms. Nice. Nico, you quiet?
Clean wine, what?
Pool.
Wine cellar, what?
Pool.
A pool, yes. A study.
Backup electricity.
Backup electricity, very important now in COVID. But do you know that there are people that can go to a property like that and not even mention backup electricity, for instance? But it becomes an important feature because when you are buying a product, you are not just buying it because it's a product. When you're buying a car, you're not just buying it because it's a car. You're buying it, one, because I know you by now, you're a cylinder head. You're going to say, how many kilowatts are in that car? Because I've never seen him drive a slow one in a car. So I know for now, if I'm going to sell him a car, see, now I've got the product, but I've got him as a client. I already said he's a cylinder head, meaning I've studied him. He's going to want a car that's got, even if it doesn't chow a lot of petrol, but it must have a turbo, correct?
100%.
That's a feature, isn't it?
Yeah.
It must be 2 liter.
Minimum.
Minimum 2 liter. It must be what? 147 kilowatts
Kilowatts.
as a minimum.
Yeah, as a minimum. That's good.
And then it must have ABS. All of those things are features,
Yeah.
right? So those features are what sells the product. So meaning, if you are sending me pictures of a property, Shelly, it's not enough to say, check out this 9 units. We must be able to say they are tenanted, fully tenanted. Every tenant has got a lease agreement. It's income generating. It's got cash flow. It's cash flow positive. It's made. So that product, we already know when you are describing the features, it's meant for an investor. So the features are also going to tell us who the product is for. Because there are people, no matter how great a property is, it just doesn't fall part of the scope of what they are looking for. So those features help save us time. Because now when I say to someone, here's a property, here are the features. Even if I put it online, but I don't detail everything, there must be, I sent you a document, right, Shelly? If they contact, there must be an immediate document that you send to them. Even if it's a 1-pager that talks about all the features of the property. Why? Because all those features are going to determine if that person must buy that thing or not. Very important. And it allows all of us here to freely now know the features even though we've never visited the product. Then we know what we are selling. Because you have to understand what the product or the service is. If you don't know what you're selling, and now I'm speaking to everyone within the team and every other part of the business, we have to understand what we are selling When you know what you are selling, you know who you are selling it to. There's no confusion. How come? Let me ask Pumlane a question. You've been my agent for 9 years, huh? Plus minus. How come you've never offered me a property in Serengeti? Not even once have you ever said to me, I've got this property in Serengeti or Waterfall Country Estate, come look at it. Never, not even once. And you've had them. How come I've never been your client for those ones?
Because I've studied you. I know that what you go for, what properties you go for. You go for income generating properties. You're an investor. Yes, I know that you want positive cash flow properties. You don't have time for it's half built structure. It's gonna no. You want something that's gonna make you money. Now, those are the properties that generally in the past we've engaged in. So I have you in that list of investors that are looking for income generating properties. You are there with other people also there.
Aha. There's something important that he has just said that we can all now pick up. And that important thing is I've got a list of people that I've described as investors. So for these investors, I only sell income generating property. But do you know that within that group of investors, there are people who are looking for half-built structures? Because their fascination is, I'm going to find a structure that's half-built, I'm going to finish it, I'm going to sell it and make money. But Pumlani has never offered that to me because it's never been my interest. And for many years, you'd be like, no, I've got this house, Nase Serengeti. And I would not even ask him more questions. I'd be like, okay, I know he's got a house in Serengeti, but I'm not your target market. Why was I not his target market? The features of that house were not what I was not looking for double volume with a swimming pool and entertainment area. I was not looking for that. So the product and the features becomes an important thing, and the benefits of what the product is for. So say for instance, you're advertising a seminar, there must be benefit for the person who's paying for a ticket. Which even if I'm buying a property, there must be a benefit for me as an investor. Why am I buying this thing? How is it going to change my life?
Value proposition.
What's the value proposition? Thank you for that. How is it going to change my life? You've got a property in Waterfall Country Estate. Maybe the value proposition could be, you and Kanye are going to live in a beautiful house. Kanye is my daughter, right? You're going to live in a beautiful house, secure, safe, next to wealthy neighbors, so it's easy for you to build connections. I can hear that the value proposition might be, I'm going to live amongst wealthy people. It's a value proposition, meaning I'll have connections with some of those wealthy people. Because neighborhoods also mean my kid is going to be playing with children of wealthy people, right? Which can ultimately mean that it can convert into business for me. It's a benefit because I'm a business person. But can you sell the same benefit to a nurse? She's not interested in that. She wants to know how far that house is from work. That's the main thing. How far is it going to be from my workplace? So, meaning if you are selling a product, a house in this instance, we must be able to say it's 2 kilometers from the hospital, it's 5 kilometers from the municipal office, it's 3 kilometers from a police station, it's 21 kilometers from Sentin, it's 21 kilometers from Pretoria. We're speaking to convenience there. We said, what are the benefits? How does it make my life better to stay there? Okay, easy access to freeways, easy access to schools, easy access to transportation, all of those things, they form part of the pitch. Now the price. I know with sellers, you'll attest to this, a seller will put a price according to how they feel about their property. Because they love this property. and they'll say, now I want 2 million. And you now, as the agent or the realtor, must be the one that's telling them, your story does not make sense. According to the area, this is how much properties that look like this cost. Now, I understand at times they might have overcapitalized on the product, meaning they've spent so much money on the product that a lower price or a normal price will not have them recoup their money. Now the question becomes, are you willing to sell a product that's overcapitalized as an agent now? Because remember, we're also talking about time in this whole thing. How much time is it going to take us as a business to sell this property? We don't just take a property, we determine what the price is going to be. And we also check the pricing that the owner or the seller is looking at. Is it consistent with what the market is willing to pay for that? Right? And we've had this conversation. I love the fact that in here, there's someone who sold property to me many times. And I'm here and I've had him sell properties for me many times, because then it allows to build that picture between the buyer and the seller and the seller and the buyer, right? As a seller, even if you've put a price on your property, there's where you're willing to go down to, one way or another. Every seller has got that. Now, obviously there's going to be chance takers that are gonna wanna drive the price too low compared to what is on the market for. And that also, I know, affects things like commission. We need to take that into consideration. The lower the property, the lower the commission is going to be. But if you've determined the price of that property in terms of the market-related value, and you've looked at what the owner or the seller is looking for, it allows you an opportunity to play around with the numbers as the agent. You know what to advise your buyer, and you know also what to advise your seller. It's important. That range is important. What the seller is willing to accept, what the buyer is willing to put on the market, and what the seller is willing to accept. That becomes an important thing. Okay. Now, the option for negotiation, who comes up with that option? The seller. Who facilitates it?
The agent.
The agent. So meaning the agent is the most important and critical person then. Because I've heard in the past, and I would say I'm negotiating, the agent would be like, no, the seller is not willing to negotiate. And I would take it personal, right? And I'd be like, this guy, let me speak to the seller myself. But now what I'm noticing with years is that already he's had a conversation with the seller. And the seller told him, I'm not going to take anything less than 1.2 million. So don't waste my time. We've had this conversation. He would call me, he'd be like, Puti bat 1.2, I don't want to know anything else. It's a no from me. It would be an outright no. And then he would come with some, although it would be lower, I'd be like, let me sleep on it. It sounds like it's an interesting offer. It might need me to think about it some more. So there's always room for that. But the negotiation factor, you as an agent now need to be knowing what's best for the seller, but also know what's best for the buyer as well. The best negotiation is where both parties are walking away happy. Where both parties are walking away happy in terms of what has been paid for the product. When you have a situation where one party is disgruntled and the other party is walking away happy, it compromises the person in the middle, and the person in the middle is you. So you want to be able to balance that. Now, in terms of place, right? In marketing, we say location, location, location for the property, right? But now, we're talking about where you are selling the property when we say place. We said product, we said price, we're saying place. But where are you selling it? We determined the other day, and we said the online selling websites are no longer enough. Property 24, private property, no longer enough. Now it goes back to your personal brand. Phumlani, ne? When you have your own personal brand, it means you can have your own website. Are they prohibited us Meme from having their own website?
They can.
So, do you have your own website?
No.
Do you have your own website? But if you've got,
Company website.
yes, but here's what I'm trying to show you, right? So on my website, Witness Mtak, there's going to be a tab there that says properties for sale. Meaning anyone who visits my website, they might as well buy a property. Because we do have property for them to buy. So if someone is interested in Phumlani as an individual and they Google Phumlani Mbogazi, there must be a website that says, here's Phumlani Mbogazi, this is his profile, and these are the kinds of properties he's got on the market as an agent and he's selling them. So now you have control over the marketing of your website, SEOs, and everything else. It's not just going to be Mthengisi property on Facebook, you put it there. No, it's an intentional building of your profile as an individual. Now, I see you go, you're writing down, so it works for you as well. Anyone within the business, any work that you're doing, build your personal profile. Yes, there's the company website. Yes, there's other websites we're working on. But the question is, even a normal, simple one-pager for you, that's your online CV. It's detailing everything that you are doing. Now, it tells us which platforms. So all these platforms are going to be tying in. Then we've got property portals. The portals that we're using to find and sell property, all of those must be linked also to your website. On your website, there must be one that directs someone to the portal and what's there. And then there must be, Phumlani, we're starting a channel, you and I, right? Not a channel, but a section on the It's More Than Just Money YouTube channel, where we're going to be profiling the properties that we are selling. That's urgent. We need to do it as in yesterday. Because now, what does it do? It introduces the guy Phumlani to the audience, to the people. It is saying, oh, this guy has a personality, he's not just a picture. Because people want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with machines. So just a picture that doesn't say anything. When you call and that person says hello. But now when you've seen him detailing that property, even you now, as an owner of a property you might one day want to sell, you know who you can use because you've seen them interacting with the product. That's why Phumlani just taking a phone and going, hey guys, I just want to tell you about the features of this property I'm about to sell. It's a 4-bedroom, it's got a scullery, it's got 2 kitchens, all of that now puts you in a position as the guy that becomes the teacher to the audience. Then it allows people to constantly want to contact you. And it impresses those who want to sell their properties, but they don't know who the best person is. They'll be like, yo, you know, I like how Phumlani marketed the other property that I saw him market. It wasn't mine, but I liked how he did it. I'm sure he can do the same for mine. Becomes an important thing. Now, let's talk promotion. In terms of the campaigns that now we can employ. Imagine if all of us here have got an email list. There's the company email list, but imagine if we all had an individual email list of people that follow us for whatever reason. Alec, maybe you're teaching them sound, or you're teaching them how to make the sound better for a YouTube channel. Sepi, maybe you're teaching them a few skills when it comes to mining. I know you're already doing that. Now, apart from the selling of property, there's something we are all good at individually here. And we are known for that thing, and you've got an email list. Imagine if all of us can be able to email the people within our email lists and say, this is what I'm selling. And it can all be automated. How quick would we be able to make sales? Like that, right? Why? There is a coordinated effort within the business to say, I might not be a primary agent, but I also have a list of people. Perhaps Pumlani, when he's sold, he can share some money with me. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Perhaps when you've sold and it's someone from my mailing list, we can talk about how you can give me some of the money. It might not be 50% of the commission, but at least I can make 10%, I can make 20%. So I might not be an agent, but I can be having the opportunity to sell property. So meaning this opportunity is not just for the agents, it's an opportunity for everyone within the business to get involved and say, what do you guys have? What are you selling? How can I help? How can I assist? How can I answer calls? How can I help you build a profile? How can I help you build a database of the people that are going to buy? Yes, Wakalane?
100%.
And then when we do open houses, for instance, an open house, it doesn't have to be the agents only that are going. Interact, guys. This industry is big enough for all of us. It's a big industry.
Yeah.
Now, you are in this office, some of you, but you are not primarily real estate. But there's a reason why you are here, isn't it? When you open yourself up to joining us on those show houses, you get to see how we interact with these people that are looking to buy. You get to learn how you, all of that then allows you to then get involved. Yes.
I want to quickly ask, has anyone watched Selling Sunsets on Netflix?
Yeah, I've watched pretty much most of the selling.
Dope.
I watched that one also.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. Tell us more about it.
Well, it's basically everything that you're saying, but it's more property centric.
Mm.
Just two brothers who owns the company with I think 5 chicks or so. Yeah, and then they just documenting the whole thing. So it's meant to be a reality show. Yeah, but it's all about selling properties. So they
Right.
go into details of the everyday tasks. Yeah, and all of those things. So they also do those things where they have open houses and it's a whole party kind of, and everybody gets to interact. Yeah, so it's individuals super aligned to what's happening in the company. So whatever they do in their individual lives almost always benefit the selling of houses. They do deals amongst themselves, like you're saying. They're able to leverage each other's whatever. So yeah.
Contact list, yeah, they do that.
Yeah. So it's quite dope. It speaks to the culture of a team, a winning team in the property space and high-end spaces, yeah.
You see, so I love what you just mentioned. Everything they do in their personal lives leads to the selling of property.
Including vacations and all of those things.
So it's not just a
never
vacation.
aligned-
When they take a vacation, it's aligned to selling
Yeah,
something.
it's never just.
That speaks to intention. Can you do that if you've got a bad reputation?
Hell no.
So, meaning reputation and image play an important role. You know, when we say the guy has got integrity, we mean his reputation and his image are integral. They are one. There's integrity. It's like in structural engineering, we say the structure has got structural integrity. Everything is in place. So our reputation then comes and plays a huge role. How you build your reputation, what you are known for amongst people. Because remember, these properties, you are selling them to people. So your reputation becomes the most important thing. Meaning every interaction that you have with a person, there must be a deliberate intention to make it memorable to them that you have got a good reputation and they can work with you. Awenzi izinto nje kuphela. In everything that we do as a business, as a company, as an organization, we must have a deliberate effort nathi to be known to have a good reputation. That's why in some companies, how someone handles themselves on social media, they can be fired.
Yeah.
Because it is said, you put the firm in disrepute. When they say Shelley, the one who did 1, 2, 3
Hey.
from Meme Properties, now you see, now we have a problem. Because the name of the company is now being put into the mud because of your behavior.
And news travels fast online.
They travel very fast. So that becomes an important thing. That integrity, reputation, dealing properly with people, but being intentional about having people around you. As a person, there must be people around you. Leadership is simply that. There are people around you that are willing to follow you. That's what leadership is. You can't say you're a leader, but nobody's following. And what's leadership? Leadership is influence. John Maxwell talks about the fact that leadership is influence, nothing less, nothing more. The question is, how many people are you influencing to make the decision of buying a property or the product that you are representing? Because all of it is just influence, Pumla. When I come to you and say, here's this product, sometimes they are buying because they are buying into you. How you are doing this thing is making them want to buy the product. And then we look at process. Process. As an agent, you must have your individual operations. Yes, there's the business operations, but what's your individual process? When you come on a daily basis, now let's not even talk agents in Japan, right? In your work, how do you streamline everything that you are doing? How have you cut the number of hours you take to do one thing to do it in less time? Process. As an individual, the process of doing things must come on quicker. And then as a business, to manage leads and to follow up on clients. That's where a lot of agents fall short. Yes, the product has been advertised, the property is on the market, but because this guy does not follow on leads, he loses them along the way. So we must have a system else maybe where once someone has contacted the office, either through phone call, there is an automatic system that captures everyone's details and tells us what they called for. Sorry?
And for it to be shared immediately, either on SMS or WhatsApp.
Yes.
Or whatever system that could be used.
Absolutely. Now we're talking CRM, customer relationship management. So we must be looking into those tools. HubSpot is one of the tools. Salesforce is another tool. Zoho.
Monday.
What?
Monday.
Monday. So, Nico, you are the IT guy. We need to be looking into those things and saying, are we applying proper CRM tools for us to be able to manage every call that comes in, every email that comes in, and are we following up on these people? Because without the following up, that's where the money gets lost on the table. You've got the property, you've put it up, but you're not following up.
Yeah. We're also losing integrity and reliability right there.
That integrity and reliability part, it's now going. When they mention the business, somebody says, they don't answer phones. Those guys, you'll give them your property to list, but they wouldn't even get back to you. I liked what you asked the attorney the other day. You asked, how often are they going to be giving the updates? Because updates, when you are actually buying a property or selling it, it's important to you as the seller. You need to know weekly what the updates are. As a buyer, you need to know how soon is it going to be till I have my property and I'm cash flowing and making some money. For those of you that are selling books, how soon is the book gonna arrive?
We actually had a chat about the book process yesterday.
Uh-huh. So processes, systems need to be streamlined. And meaning we need to know exactly what each process looks like from the back of our heads, individually and as a business. For your work, Tsepi, you need to have a system and a process. For what you do, Nico, system, process. What you do, system, process. What you do, system, process. What you do, system, process. What I do, system, process. Business is doing that thing that's boring every day until you get results. It's not jumping onto the next process all the time. You must do the boring thing. It's supposed to be boring. By the way,
There's actually a thinking framework of systems thinking. Yeah.
systems thinking.
Yeah. So that's your approach to how you do things.
Each person must have an approach
Yeah.
to how they do things. Whereas I have to look at it and say, if Nyuko is off work today, what sort of way was he gonna apply to do this thing? And we do it accordingly. Meaning a client might be calling looking for maybe, but witness has answered. But witness can immediately say, Meme is not here, but I can assist you.
Yeah.
Why? We understand the system and the processes of how you do things. It mustn't be guesswork. We must, and especially because we all here, we must make it a deliberate, coordinated effort to do things in such a way that it takes us to the next level. Right? We are together then, eh?
Yes.
So, physical evidence is important. What do I mean by physical evidence? There must be proof that what we are doing is working. All the deals that we've done, we mustn't shy away from always putting a spotlight on them and showing people, I've done this deal, here's how it happened, and here's where it took us, and here's how much our client made in terms of making money on that thing. Proof of our success, client testimonials, Nigo. Everywhere where we go, there must be a testimonial that we are capturing. Ne? Must be able to say, this is what I've done since I received this information, or since I interacted with this team of realtors, my property was sold. I didn't think it would be sold within a week. There are times when offer to purchase, someone sees the property today, they sign it today. All of that, we must put a spotlight on it. Property sold, spotlight on it. Product sold, spotlight on it. Everything we do, people will say, Rakom, Askom, we're marketing our business. There isn't such a thing as humility when it comes to business. Because a business must always be seen to be doing well, seen to be serving customers, and actually do the serving of those customers. Humility is like, no, hey, we can't show everyone. No, we must show them. When we've done something well, they must see that these people have done it well. Evidence, especially having a lot of online reviews, pushing for those. If we've got those coordinated individual websites that are connected to the main one, there's traffic everywhere. And we are also encouraging people to give us those reviews. Very important. And we must have some case studies. Also maybe case studies of, here's a property we once sold. These are the challenges we experienced with that property. This is how we overcame those challenges. And this is how we made money for everyone. Extremely, extremely important. And then technology. Virtual tours. So there must be a framework where we can literally take someone through a property that in the States we're here. They must be able to see what exactly we are selling. Meaning we must also have, and that speaks to what we wanted to do with the YouTube channel. Those are virtual tours. The person need not necessarily be there. But now they are seeing this property that's being profiled and they've got an interest to buy it. But because they've seen it, they don't have hesitation. They are willing to put their money where their mouth is. And those tours speak to you highlighting the features, like we said. So online meetings, not every meeting has to be physical. That constant meeting of minds with your primary investors, sellers, buyers, constantly speaking to them about what you've got is important. So in terms of technology, we need to look at ways in which we can follow up. You see that those automated emails, it's important. If they've got the right info and they tell the clients exactly what needs to be done,
Yeah.
it cuts out a whole lot of mismatch in terms of time.
Inconsistency.
Yes. So meaning for every individual, there must be an automated message on days where they are not available. Okay? Lastly, when it comes to sales, or real estate sales for that matter, knowledge becomes an important tool. An understanding of the industry becomes an important tool. Being trustworthy, being proactive, yes, they're important, but knowing what you're doing is much more important. Knowing the area, knowing the product, it's important. Whatever that you are selling, all of us here, all of us seated here are selling something. Life is sales. When you want to increase your salary, or I want a higher commission, Osmim, am I not supposed to give the benefits why it's important for me to receive a higher commission versus someone else?
Remember that one.
Yeah, but
Unless if
yes, but what I'm saying is, with everything in life, anyone who's got an advantage in terms of how they do something
yes,
will always get more. That's the reality of life. So, meaning when you want something, you need to be able to say, these are the benefits of giving me this thing that I want. It might be, argument's sake, why don't we have a holiday to Dubai for the best-selling salesperson at the end of the year? I'm not saying this year. Can be next year. The benefit for that person is a holiday. But for another person, do you know that the benefit for them might be the money, not the holiday? So we need to understand what makes every person tick and what's important to each person.
Incentives.
Incentives. What are the incentives for our team? What are the incentives? And we have to look into them.
Competition.
Healthy competition is
Amongst
important.
us, yeah.
Yeah, it's important. If Pumlani has sold 5 houses this month, Shelly needs to be able to say, "Nah, I'm going to sell 10 next month." There's no way he's beating me. And then, sales and marketing doesn't stop. It's continuous. It's continuous. So these are conversations we constantly need to be having. And we're going to be having them in different ways as time goes on. But these short trainings then make you as an individual think about your own direction. And asking yourself, what value do I add to the entire sales force? Now, the question is always going to be, for the work that you're doing, whether you're selling property or you're not, whether you're the main person selling the product, what value do you add to the bottom line at the end of the day? Your coordinated effort on a daily basis, how does it contribute to the business making money? You must ask yourself that question. What I'm doing here, how does it eventually make money? Admin, there's a whole process of why admin eventually contributes to the bottom line. videos. There must be a whole sequence of contributing to the bottom line. But most importantly, guys, build those relationships offline, online, everywhere. You have to be everywhere. We live in a world where you can connect with someone who's in Ghana while you're here. You can connect with someone who's in Botswana while you're here. There's always someone you can connect with who is outside of your normal sphere of influence. But you must have a strategic way of doing it online. And as we go on, perhaps as we move along, we'll have days where we talk about purely social media marketing. How do you do it? Where we talk about building a brand online. Where we talk about TikTok marketing only. Where we talk about Facebook, because they're different, all of them. And how and why certain videos can trend while others don't. I hope you got some value from the conversation. Do you have any questions? No questions?
No.
No from you? No from you?
It would be lovely to have these once a week. Even if it's virtual, even if it's in the office, preferably in the office. Yeah.
Okay, once a week we are having these. And we will have them on different things. Of course, not the team won't always be together.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll have the real estate one aside, we'll have the consulting one aside, but it's important. All right, thank you guys. I'll give a round of applause. Awesome.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, so let's push.
Yeah, on it, yeah.